Good evening. Welcome to Inner Space and welcome to our online viewers. Our theme this evening is Power of Kindness. And yes, Power of Kindness. And we have with us Mukesh, and he's come all the way from Manchester. So please come and take a seat. Mukesh coordinates the activities of Inner Space in Manchester, and also he's been meditating for over 40 years. And very right person for the theme that we're going to be addressing this evening, because he guides and supports in a very, very gentle but very empowering way. So without the further ado, I'll request Brother Mukesh to share. Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to those who are also online. So thanks for those kind words. I guess the very first thing is that in each one of us, it's okay? In each one of us, there is kindness already inside us. And what tends to happen is that during certain situations, certain occasions, we bring that kindness out. Or maybe there are times where we see other people being kind to others, and seeing those individuals, it kind of brings inside us the need to be kind. It melts our heart. It makes us think, I could do with being kind, like this other person is also kind. So normally what tends to happen is that kindness is something where we have it inside us and we bring it out as a result of occasions or certain situations in life. Or we see kindness in others, and that brings the kindness inside us. But what I feel is that it shouldn't stop at that point. It should actually go further from that. It should be part of our life to be kind. So how can we bring that into our day-to-day life? How can we sustain that kindness into our daily life? What do we need to do, basically? We shouldn't be waiting for occasions to make us kind. We shouldn't be waiting for people's acts of kindness to make us become kind. Kindness should be part of our daily life. And I feel for us to do that, the very first thing we could do is give ourselves some time. I call that me time. Sometimes people feel that you should not give time to yourself because you are a little bit selfish if you do that. But that's not the case. It's important that I actually give some time to myself. I like to call that me time. Time I give to my own self in order to understand myself and in order to make that kindness part of my daily life and not just when there are occasions. For that to happen, if I give myself those moments where I take my mind, my thoughts away from all kinds of roles that we play in our daily life, for example, could be parents, could be grandparents, could be sons or daughters, or it could be connected to my own professions that I am engaged in. If I take my mind away from all of those things and I look inside, then there is an opportunity to explore something new, something different. And then the other thing I need to do beside that is also to take my mind away from all kinds of influence that I have been influenced by. In other words, there are many things which we acquire in our daily life. And those things we acquire maybe from our parents or close family members or distant family members, or sometimes it could be that we acquire from the social media, which we are very much exposed with. So when I go inside myself in this me time, I'm taking my mind, I'm taking my thoughts away from the influence and also the roles that I play in my life. I take my mind away from both of those things. Once I have done that and I look inside myself, then suddenly I discover that within me there are incredible different virtues. And the two virtues which we can see inside us, one is love and the other is truth. What they do is they make me begin to understand what kindness actually is. And I'll expand on that as to what I mean. The quality or the virtue of love makes me understand that kindness is not simply an act which I perform. Kindness is not something where I see someone else perform an act and I get inspired by it. But the quality or the virtue of love makes me understand that actually kindness is life. It's a daily life. It's something which I have to be living with. And what that love does is it clarifies to me the real meaning of kindness. That my thoughts are so important because they are the seed which actually gives out the outcome into my life. We actually say quite often within the practice of Raja Yoga meditation that the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. So in other words, whatever I think, it matters because I become what I think sooner or later. Because of that, I have to make sure that the quality of my thoughts are positive. So once I get in touch with the inner love that lies within me, then what that love does is it changes my thought pattern. It changes how I begin to think. It makes me realize that the thoughts that I have for my own self and the thoughts that I have for others, to what extent are they filled with love? And sometimes this word love gets misunderstood. Actually, we think we don't really understand what love is. But love is simply a thought which is more of giving someone or something that is going to make the difference in their life as well as the difference in my life. In other words, true love or real love is unconditional. There are no conditions with which I share the love with my own self or love for other individuals. So what that means is that I begin to understand that the quality of my thoughts, to what extent I am maintaining them to be one which are of giving than of taking. Once I start to understand that process of giving, then I have to be careful. And what I mean by being careful, I do not want to give something which can cause someone hurt or someone pain or someone sorrow. So once that part of my understanding becomes clearer, in this me time, I call it, time where I reflect inside myself, then I understand that actually what I need to do is to begin to process internally whatever I have accumulated so far in the journey of my life and make it positive. Turn it into positivity, because whatever is gone inside will actually come out at some point in my life. So love becomes a very important part of our journey of life. Actually, I often say to people that life without love is not a life. We should not be living a life where there is no love. So once that thinking becomes clearer inside, then this quality or this virtue of love becomes the seed to start creating kindness towards myself and kindness towards other individual. In other words, now I understand that I do not want to give any individual any kind of hurt, which you would say unkindness. I don't want to cause unkindness to any individual. Easily said and difficult to do. But once that thought is there, then I'm able to make the changes internally. I'm able to apply it more and more, where I'm actually saying to myself that your thoughts, which are the seeds, in time will be expressed. They will be expressed either through your face, the way you see others. They will be expressed through your words. They will be expressed through your behavior, through your mannerism. Whatever is inside me will actually be expressed at some point outside, either through my face, through my eyes, through my words, through my actions, behavior, my mannerism, which tells me that if I can maintain that thought of inner love for myself and that unconditional love for others, then that is a method by which I start to begin to bring the kindness into my life more and more. But there may be this question inside us, and that question could be, well, what if somebody says something to you which may not be kind? What if someone behaves with you which again is not kind, it's unkind? Or what you have gone through something in your journey of life in the younger period as a result of maybe you have done something wrong, or maybe someone else has done something wrong to you. How can you say you can maintain this unconditional love for yourself and for others? How can you still carry out the acts of kindness if in my journey of life I have gone through that? And it is realistic, it can happen to any one of us and does happen to us. How do I still believe that love, the pure love, the unconditional love, is the seed to maintain kindness? How do I deal with that? And this is where then I begin to go inside myself, go back to the virtues that lies within me. And the two virtues I mentioned were love, and the other one is truth. Truth. I have to go back inside myself, and I have to remind myself that within you there is this virtue, this quality, which is truth. And once I remind myself of that virtue that lies within me, then what truth does is it makes me become aware that that which is truth does not need to be proved. It proves itself in its own time, and that which is truth will always carry out the law of life, and the law of life is again love. So if I'm working towards the virtue of love, but then I'm facing all these difficult situations, difficult individuals maybe in my life, or something which is connected to the past, which can weaken my virtue of love and can make me think, really, I can't be kind here. It's not possible to carry out the acts of kindness in my day-to-day life. I have to remind myself of the virtue of truth. Truth will reinforce to me that no matter whatever is in life, the law of life is always to give love. And as a result of that truth that I connect with, I begin to see the methods to overcome these different challenges. Those methods are, let's explore some of those methods from the place of truth. Those methods are that firstly, the truth enables me to see my own truth. And when I look at my own truth that lies within me, then it shows that within you there is incredible beauty, there is incredible kindness, and this kindness has been suppressed as a result of many different things which we already have talked about. So what I need to do is I need to believe in myself first and foremost, that it exists, it's within me, and now I need to begin to bring it out in my day-to-day life. The power of kindness, or the power within the kindness, comes when we express it. It's no good saying, I had a kind thought, but then I did not act on it. That's not good. That's fine to have a thought, but not to act on it doesn't give the power. So the truth helps me to see the power within the kindness. And the examples are that gradually you begin to understand that just as peace, or maybe love, or maybe truth are important, so are the powers which lies within me of, say, tolerance. I begin to understand that there are times where I have to tolerate a little bit. Often people, when they hear the word tolerance, they think that, do I give in? Do I suppress? Do I just take everything in and not respond to anything? No. The meaning of the word tolerance is you are internally strong, that which is coming from outside, or that which may have been there for whatever number of years in the past, you are able to tolerate that, but not allow it to grow, not allow it to expand any further. The tolerance is a strength to stop the mind from repeating whatever has someone said or something has happened to me in my mind again and again and again. And I think we all know why it's important not to overthink again and again, because whatever we think more than once and twice and 3 times and 4 times, we actually give power to those thoughts. They become too big for us to handle. But with the power of truth, we acquire tolerance, we acquire patience, we acquire that level of being calm, we acquire that energy which is one of giving to others than taking it. So love and truth. The quality of love helps me to sustain kindness in my life. The quality or the virtue of truth gives me the power and the strength to carry on maintaining that kindness in my day-to-day life. The more I do that, the more I keep working away on this awareness of kindness, then the next thing that happens is my life changes. And the way my life changes is I become one who is more of a giver than the taker. So giver doesn't mean giving things out physically. That's not the aim. It's nice to do it. Nothing wrong in giving things out. Could be a bunch of flowers or a box of chocolate or whatever. But here the word giver is I actually am creating vibrations. I'm creating atmosphere. It is an internal work that I have to do. And if I'm realistic about it, then I do feel it takes time. It needs to be worked on it. So how do I work on it? How do I actually make it happen? So if I just maybe go back a little bit to what I said earlier, the first thing was kindness comes into our life during some occasions. Maybe good occasions, someone's birthday, someone's graduation, and we carry out an act of kindness. Or maybe sometimes not a good occasions where someone is not well, or someone is in some difficult situations and they need our help, and we give out that kindness. So the kindness is based upon good occasions and maybe sometimes not so good occasions. Or we bring about kindness as a result of seeing someone else being kind to someone else, and that melts our heart, and all of a sudden we start thinking, I need to be kind. But to sustain kindness, to understand the real meaning of kindness, I have to give myself the me time for myself to reflect. When I do that, then I understand I have acquired so many things, and I have given myself too many labels with which I live my life, or the roles, and I need to step away from that. And once I step away from all of those things, then I turn inside, and when I turn inside, I actually discover the real seed of kindness is love and truth. Once I discover those two virtues, then I begin to explore what love is. And it makes me understand that love is unconditional. It's a seed of my thoughts. Love should be in every thought I create. And if I can do that, then its expression will always be one of kindness. But then I mentioned that there are challenges which we have faced in our life, presently, maybe in the past, and we can maybe feel not capable of carrying out those kinds acts. So I need to bring the virtue of truth into my life. And truth is almost like it speaks to me. It tells me that the law of your life is love. You can't escape it. This is the law of life. You have to be loving. And that truth reinforces my belief in I must carry out my actions of kindness from the seed of love. So once I've done that sort of a work on it, where I'm actually beginning to understand what real kindness is, then the third step is where I actually believe that my inner world of thoughts should be coming out into my vibrations and my atmosphere in the way I live my life. In other words, each one of us, whatever we are thinking internally, at some point we create that energy of vibrations which will then actually come out into the room, the environment, wherever we go. If I understand that is what is happening, which means I'm responsible. And the way I'm responsible is that I carry with me vibrations. I carry with me certain environment which will have an impact on people who come into my surrounding. Wherever I go, it will have an impact. So once that part is clear to me, then there is a further understanding of me that actually it's the being which is expressing the kindness, not just the act of doing something, it is the being. So this being which is expressing the kindness is not a physical being. This is something which is eternal, or something which is a light, a being of light, than just physical form, which I thought was giving out kindness, or I thought the kindness was coming from the other individuals because of the roles that they are playing in their life. Now, when I change my thinking at that level, that actually it's the energy inside me which is what gives out the kindness, not just the external part of the human body or the identity of the human role which is giving out kindness. It changes me even more in the way I think now. And the way it changes me is that the internal part or the being is always kind. It's when I think of the role that I play in the human form causes me certain issues and challenges, and it takes me away from my inner kindness that actually exists. So in some ways I would actually say that every being has kindness inside. It's not that we have to look for it, or we have to wait for someone to demonstrate through their action what kindness is, but we have it. It's in the being. And the roles of my life which I play are important. The responsibility that I have in those roles is also important. I have to fulfill it. But at the end of the day, that which is being expressed in that role, or that which is bringing out the responsibility that I'm fulfilling in my life, is coming from internal, not external. Now, once that becomes more clear to me, and I need to work on this, this is not something I can just do overnight. I have to really, like to use that word again, give me the time, me time. I have to give myself that time to sit internally and explore this way of understanding. Once I have done that and I recognize that the being is what's coming out, then I explore that being a bit more. I begin to understand this being that I am. And within the practice of Raj Yoga meditation, we call the being the soul, the living energy, which is the life force in the body which I am in, which has the roles and the labels. But what I am is not the roles, the labels, but I am the being, the energy which actually is the life force in this body of mine. And that being, that soul, already has or is kind, but for myself not being aware of it, and everything which has come in my way, and the way, obviously the way I have been also, I have lost that connection with my own self, and I've not been able to express that inner kindness that actually exist within me. So the third step is a step where I recognize that, and with that recognition, I begin to work on it. I begin to give time to it. I begin to explore the being, the soul that I am. I give myself the time to say, let me step away from the external. Let me turn inwards. Let me become aware of the being that I am, the soul that I am. And as soon as I do that, then that quality of love and truth becomes ignited. The energy of love and truth begins to sparkle inside. I can see the light of it, and that makes me understand that your expressions are of kindness. So how do I create that vibrations? How do I create that atmosphere within my own self, with the family that I live in, with people maybe I work with, even people I don't know? How do I keep that vibrations? How do I maintain that inner vibrations of who I am, the soul? What are the methods? And the method is simple method where I actually begin to say that before you express, remind yourself who you really are first, and then express. Or before you say something to someone, remind yourself of what you really are inside first, and then say what you need to say. So it's almost like there's a practice, and the practice is called be aware of the soul that you are, and then play the role, the life that has given to you, and express that from who you really are, the soul. Now, as that awareness of my inner self becomes stronger, and as that awareness becomes more deeper, then the next thing happens is I'm not looking for love. I'm not making myself become aware of the truth. But they naturally emerge. And as they emerge, then they give out that light of what they are, the love and the truth. It comes out. It may start off slowly to begin with, but in time it will grow and become brighter. It's a little bit like, if you light a candle, then that candle has its own light, and it will give out its light to its surrounding, which will be very small surrounding. If you turn on a light, a normal light like the one we got over here, then every bulb has its own light, and it gives out its light to its surrounding. And depending on the brightness, or we use the word, obviously, the voltage of the bulb, that much light is then visible. If you turn on, say, the floodlight, then it has its own light because of its voltage, and it will give its light to much more wider area. So a little bit like that to begin with, when I turn inwards and I become aware of the soul that I am, I ignite that first light of kindness through love, through truth, And it may seem to me that that light is almost like a candlelight. Its brightness is only visible to me and nobody else. And even to me, I have to look for it to see that this light exists. It's not that strong. But every time that practice gets deeper and I get better at it, then it's a little bit like I'm moving from the light of the candle to that spotlight where gradually that kindness is expressed more because love and truth has become more part of my being, more part of my living. And now the light is not just enough for me to see, but it's beginning to actually come out and for others to take the benefit of that light. And then the more I work on it and the more I strengthen that awareness and the more I live my life with that awareness, then that light is getting even more brighter, and that vibrations and the atmosphere with I'm creating reaches out even far, far further than what I can actually imagine. And so the reality is then each one of us, as we live our life from the awareness of the soul, the awareness of the being, then we have this incredible light of love and truth, which then they are the seeds, which then gives out the kindness in our face, in our words, in our behavior, in our expression. And we want that to not be the light or the energy of just a candle. But we want that to be more than a floodlight where it reaches far, far beyond my imagination. It's a little bit like, say, if you use the mic, and if it's not online, for example, those people sitting here, okay, you can hear me. And maybe if the mic is more powerful, maybe 100 to 200 to maybe 1,000 people can hear. But there's a limit to how far you go, a couple of thousand. And that's much one can hear the words. But this power of light has no limitation. We're not looking into ones and tens and hundreds and thousands and 10,000. It just flies, it just reaches out far, far beyond my imagination. And this is what encourages us, let me maintain this kindness in my life so that this light can go far beyond, and without me saying a word, it will touch the hearts of many. I'm going back to what I said earlier. Sometimes in our life, we see an act of kindness performed by someone. Seeing it, it melts our heart, and the thought of kindness appears. And we begin to believe in it, that I should also be carrying out the acts of kindness that I saw this person done or did. But this energy of vibrations and the atmosphere reaches far, far beyond that. And this touches the hearts of many individuals. And the beautiful thing is that it will touch the hearts, not just the heart, it will touch the minds of individual. And the minds of individual will actually begin to see that they have a light of love and truth within them. They will recognize that these are the seeds for which the kindness is needed. And therefore, one is then able to express kindness as a part of life and not think, I must do something kind today. Or I see someone perform an act of kindness and I say, maybe I should do this. No, it's like my life becomes one of kindness. I don't have my glasses today. I actually left them in the building. But I think it's nearly 7:30 if I'm right. Is it? Yeah, I can see that clock over there, 7:30. I can't see that clock, but I can see that clock. So I think I was told that maybe at 7:30 I can stop and see if there are any questions from anybody. And I don't know if there are any questions from online. Don't know whether you take any questions from online.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So please do. Does anybody have any questions? Is everything clear?
Just raise your hand if anybody wants any questions, and I'll pass the mic. Yeah.
How do we invoke the feeling of love when we are performing our day-to-day activities? I know you understand you said me time, but when we are working, we kind of forget that feeling and be involved in other thoughts. But how do we invoke that feeling and keep it constant all the time?
Good question. So I obviously you caught this one word, me time, and because we are engaged so much from the moment we wake up until the end of the day, and what we can do about me time is, if every couple of hours, if I just sit quietly and then turn my attention away from everything which has been going around and just turn my attention towards myself and then look inside and say, what am I? What is the purpose of life? Is the purpose of life just running around, trying to do this, that, and the other? Is the purpose of life more what I am inside, true to myself, and then sharing that with others? Like I said earlier, nothing wrong with roles in life, nothing wrong with the responsibilities, nothing wrong in fulfilling those responsibilities. Nothing wrong in having aims in life, but why not I do all of that from the place of love? And love is something which I am. Like I said earlier, I believe that we are born to experience love, but something goes wrong, I feel, at some point in time. And we begin to lose that. But we are born to experience love. And for whatever reason, whatever has gone wrong, let's not go there. Now is the time for me to go back inside and say, actually, I don't need to look for love. I am love. I, the being, I, the soul, I am love. And love can be expressed in thousands of ways. Just a smile towards someone is an expression of love and kindness. Kind words to someone is also an expression of love. Being able to listen to someone and just understand what that person is going through is an act of love, act of kindness. So there are many, many things which we are not aware of it, and we can actually work on it. So I have to practice, by the way. I do have to give that time to myself to explore. Let it be that whatever there is comes from inside, then from outside. Nothing wrong from outside, by the way, yeah? Nothing wrong. But when it comes from inside, you actually begin to give more meaning to it. When you see it's you who are love and you are giving love to others from what you're inside, then that has more stronger meaning. I hope that clarifies. Anybody else? Any question anybody else has? Anything anybody wants to ask or comment or?
You said about giving love and being kind to people, which I try to do quite a lot. But sometimes you can't always give. It can't be a one-way thing, so you can't be giving love to somebody, and then you'll get nothing back. I find that very hard when you get nothing back.
Sure.
Yeah. What would you suggest?
Yeah, good question again. I think what I need to do is to, in this me time, I need to talk to myself in a kind way and say to myself that your duty is to give, but not to wait to expect something to come your way. And the other good thing is that my acts of kindness is something I just have to keep doing. I may not get the return from that same person. Sometimes you say that I've been so loving to this person for weeks and months and years, and there's nothing coming back. In fact, everything is the opposite end. What do? This is crazy. Here I'm giving out love to this person. All I get is the opposite to it. But then I have to accept also that it doesn't have to come from that person. My duty is to give. And whatever I give out, it will come back to me, not from that person, but from somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. So I'm not giving with that thought that this person has to give me the return. No, I'm giving because, I used that word earlier. Truth tells me the law of life is to give love. So I have to listen to that truth. And I have to believe in that and experience myself. And the love will come, not from that person, but from somebody else and somebody else, somebody else. Again, I hope it answers your question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody has any questions? Anything anybody wants to ask? I guess you don't get a question from online, yeah?
Yeah, I think there is no question online.
From the online also, right?
We can finish with the short meditation.
Sure, no problem, yeah? Okay. So let's finish the session with a short meditation. And all you have to do is just sit very comfortably and very relaxed. And all I will do is just share with you some of the thoughts that I would think when I meditate. So sitting comfortably and relaxed and giving myself me time for myself. And actually the very first thought that I have when I sit down to meditate is such a beautiful thing to do. Such a kind thing to do. Not just for myself, but also for the others, and even the nature. Because when I sit down to meditate, then my mind is no longer thinking about the many roles that I play in my life, and maybe the challenges that I have in those roles. But I turn my attention inwardly to the being that I am, the soul that I am. And as soon as I become aware of this awareness of the soul, I visualize this incredible light, the light of love, the light of truth. And this beautiful love is unconditional. It does not demand anything. It does not have any kind of expectations or needs. But it's simply a pure love that gives out kindness in its vibrations to whole of my body. And this light goes out into the environment, so that the environment becomes of such kind that whoever comes into it, they also begin to feel that kind love. And that kind love can take away whatever worries, whatever concerns, or whatever fear they may have in their life. It frees them. And from that place of love, I recognize that this is my truth. The truth of life is to be loving to myself and loving to others. And every expressions through the eyes, through the face, through words, through behavior can be filled with kindness. Truth keeps reminding me, you the soul, you the energy, you the being is filled with kindness, and you have to give this kindness naturally. And with that one thought, once again, I come back into the awareness of the body and hold that awareness of kindness within myself. Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you.
Listening to Mukesh, do you feel like coming into sound? So very sweetly and gently he's taken us deep within. And just to recap some of the points that he was sharing, what I really picked up for myself especially, the law of life is love. So our thoughts are the seeds, and the virtue of truth is to really go within and allow that law of life, which is love, to be in our thoughts and in our interactions with each other. Okay, so just few things that are coming up. And so thank you especially to the speaker, the viewers, and also our online viewers. This Saturday from 2 to 4 we have a workshop, seminar kind of session, and it's about letting go of past. So 2 to 4. And every Monday and Thursday we have our meditation, both in-house and online, 7 to 7:30 p.m. And our talk next Tuesday is going to be on the theme of charity begins at home, and we're going to have Matthew address that speech. And just some of our special events happening in our other centers, our main center. We have one of our very, very senior brother visiting from India. He'll be coming, I think, this Friday. And on Saturday, which is the 15th of July, we have from 6:30 to 8 p.m. At Global Cooperation House. I guess most of you know where Global Cooperation House is. If not, you can pick up a leaflet on your way out. And the theme is Nourish Your Soul, Enchanting Stories from a Man of Wisdom. And he is such an entertainer in terms of telling stories. And really, he's in his 90s, and he's been there from, when the organization started, not quite at 1930s, but soon after that. So you can see the depth of wisdom he has. And also, there is an event in Tooting, which is on a Sunday, 16th of July. And so for those of you who want to go, or you know of your friends there, so that's from 3:15 to 5 p.m. So you can take leaflets from reception as well. And for those of you who are aware of our retreat center in Oxford, which was closed for a few years for a major renovation. And so the reopening, it has opened and been working for some time, but the official reopening with our seniors, etc., is going to be on the 23rd, Sunday, 23rd of July. So if you want some more information about it, you can either go to Global Retreat Center website and register through that. If not, you can also get some information from us. Okay, come back soon and have a good and safe journey home.